You're in Central Australia, 40,000 years ago. Flat, dry land stretches to the horizon in every direction. No roads, no landmarks. One water source is a day's walk away. Miss it, and the next is 4 days further. You won't survive that, but you're not panicking. Inside your skull is something no other species has ever built. A map, not on paper, made of songs. This starts with biology. In 1971, neuroscientist John O'Keefe was recording neurons in a rat's hippocampus. He found cells that fired only when the rat stood in one specific spot. He called them place cells. In 2005, Norwegian researchers May-Britt and Edvard Moser found something else: grid cells, firing a hexagonal pattern as an animal moves. Together they form a self-updating 3D map of the world, running with no batteries, no code. All three scientists won the Nobel Prize in 2014 for discovering the brain's inner GPS. This system isn't unique to humans. Rats, birds, and bees all have versions of it. What's unique is that humans eventually pulled that internal map out of the heads and onto a surface. Nobody knows exactly when this started. The earliest maps were probably scratched in dirt and didn't survive, but physical evidence goes back further than most people expect. A 25,000-year-old mammoth tusk from the Czech Republic, engraved with wavy lines. Some researchers believe it maps a river valley and nearby hills. A contested wall painting in Turkey might show a town seen from above, or it might just be a decorative pattern. Scholars still disagree. The strongest candidate, a 13,660-year-old engraved stone found in a Spanish cave. It shows mountains, rivers, and routes that actually match the surrounding terrain. No writing yet, no agriculture, no cities, and someone was already mapping their world. Here's where the story splits. Some cultures put maps on physical surfaces. Others built maps that lived entirely in memory. Aboriginal Australians developed songlines, chains of song, story, and ceremony encoding the landscape in precise detail. Someone who's never visited a place can navigate it by singing the correct verses in order. Some researchers believe songlines stretch back 60,000 years. In Micronesia, the Marshallese built stick charts from palm ribs and shells to map ocean swell patterns. They weren't carried on voyages. They were teaching tools studied on land before sailing. Polynesian navigators crossed the Pacific using a memorized star compass of roughly 202D stars. When clouds blocked the sky, they read ocean swells through the hull and judged distance to land by watching birds. In 1976, navigator Mau Pialuk sailed from Hawaii to Tahiti using nothing but this traditional knowledge and arrived within sight of land. Physical cartography takes off in Mesopotamia. The oldest surviving map both scholars accept is a 4,300-year-old clay tablet from Iraq. It's not an exploration tool, it's a property deed. Maps begin as instruments of ownership. Babylon later produced a world map centered on itself. Ringed by a mythic ocean called the Bitter River, Egypt produced a startlingly accurate geological survey map around 1150 BC made to plan a mining expedition. The Greeks tried something bigger, mapping the entire known world. Anaximander sketched it around 550 BC. A century later, Eratosthenes calculated Earth's circumference using a stick, a shadow, and geometry. He landed within about 2% of the real number, 2,200 years before satellites existed. Ptolemy later assigned coordinates to 8,000 locations, though his flawed math would help mislead Columbus about the size of the Atlantic. Independently, in China, Pei Shu developed near-identical cartographic principles with zero contact with Greek scholars. A 1136 AD stone map of China is accurate enough to overlay on modern satellite imagery. Medieval European maps were often theological, not practical, beautiful, but useless for actually traveling. Meanwhile, Islamic geographer Al-Adisi produced one of the most accurate maps of Eurasia and Africa of its era. The maps that actually worked for sailors were portolan charts, built from generations of accumulated bearings. In 1507, a German mapmaker labeled the Americas with a name for the first time, and it stuck forever. Mercator's 1569 projection helped sailors navigate using straight compass lines. But it also made Europe and North America look far bigger than Africa, a distortion that's persisted for 450 years. Rance's 18th century Cassini survey revealed the country was smaller than the king had believed. In 1884, European powers meeting in Berlin drew Africa's borders using straight lines on a map. Peoples like the Maasai and Somali were split apart, borders that still stand today. By the late 20th century, maps left Earth entirely. Sputnik's launch in 1957 led to the development of GPS. A classified CIA satellite program photographed the entire Soviet Union in stunning detail. But here's the twist. A 2020 study found heavy GPS use physically shrinks the hippocampus. That's the exact brain region where place cells were first discovered. When you follow turn-by-turn directions, you bypass your own cognitive map. Use it or lose it. So how did humans invent maps? Not once, over and over, on every continent. Whenever one brain needed to tell another, the water is over there and couldn't be there in person, songlines, clay tablets, star compasses, satellite photos, all the same impulse, different tools. Tonight, someone will follow a blue dot on their phone without a single thought. Somewhere else, an elder will sing a song about a river they've never seen, using the same hippocampus O'Keefe found firing an erect in a London lab in 1971.